technical difficulties right now. Trying to make sure audio is working. Okay.
Yeah, can someone confirm
someone please
if they can
confirm.
hear? Okay, I hear it now.
Okay.
Okay, yeah,
Sweet.
it's definitely working.
Okay, that was weird.
Yeah,
OBS. I blame OBS. Not my
yeah,
fault.
yeah. Software glitch.
Let's restart the tutorial.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, yeah, I wanted to come up with like a little video tutorial so people understand exactly what is expected of you when you're trying to poach or use
Oh,
the
jeez. Oh, Alexa off. Alexa off.
or or practice squad in general. So the first thing you want to do is identify someone that is on the practice squad for another team. During the season, that's going to be on Fantrax. If you go to teams, it'll be the player in the minor league spot. So that's the easiest way you can tell if someone's on a practice squad or not. And then, like the rules say, it's a $5 raise automatically for this season, right? So you have to do the math and submit the contract that you want to poach him for, right? So if it's Tim Tebow and he's on someone's practice squad for $2, then first you add the 5 to get the 7 for this year, and then if you want to do a 1-year deal, it's the normal $3 raise from there. So you'd be submitting a contract for 1 year, $10 next year, right? And if it's a 3-year contract, then you would do the appropriate math and it'd be 10, 13, and whatever, right?
Wait, so it's 10 because why? It's
minimum raise is 3. It goes to 7 for this year because
2 plus 5, and then
yeah,
plus
2 plus
3. Okay,
5
gotcha.
plus 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if Tebow is $1, obviously it changes, lower and up to like $4. So you have to do the math, and then you have to go to the Talking About Practice channel like you are right now.
Yep.
And then you want to say your team name. So for you, it would be New England offers Tim Tebow a 1-year deal. And then in parentheses, you want to, have the math for how much that is.
10?
I mean, let's just say 10, right? Okay. And then before you do this, you have to actually submit to the owner. So if Tim Tebow's on, Great Kill's roster, then you have to email that person or message that person directly and say the same thing that you're saying here to give them the heads up of a full 48 hours.
Right.
And then you comment this in this thread, right?
Okay. So before I do this in the thread, I would have already told the team who has Tim Tebow. Okay.
Right. And let's just say this Tebow is on Oakland's team, right?
Okay.
Right now you're 4th in priority, right? So everyone below you just can't jump in and bid on this, right? But
Oh, wow.
everyone above you. So let's say I was technically above you.
Yeah.
Then you would post, like, for me, I would post, like, let's say I'm Mars, like Mars matches Tim Tebow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then now Mars is a team that has the active poach, and New England, you're basically not gonna get him through poaching, right?
Okay.
And then Oakland has, assuming that Oakland has him, 48 hours from basically when you first started the poach, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's 48 hours from 8/16 to respond to here that he matches or he declines, or he could just let the time run out. If time runs out, then whoever is highest in priority gets him.
Okay.
And then after every poach cycle, me or Hua will update the current poach priority just so we know like who's at the top. And if Mars is the one that wins, then he drops all the way down to 10. And the next time a poach comes up, he'd be last in priority, right? So it just keeps running. Okay. It doesn't reset due to standings or whatever.
So whoever gets him goes last.
Yeah. They just fall down to the last. And then, I mean, that's the mechanism. That's how I want things to play out. It is the least work for the commissioner, and it's fairly open, so everyone should see what's going on at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, there's compensation rules, but you could look that up on your own. Activation is the same thing as poaching, except you just comment that you're activating. So if I'm activating like Johnny Manziel, then I'll say, I'll type it out right now. Like Great Kills activates Johnny Manziel on 3-year deal, and then I'll write 10, 13. I don't know if the math is right?
Whatever.
But I'll post that. And then like no one can jump in and try to poach. Like it's already your guy. So like it just kills it.
So when you activate him, is he immediately on your roster?
Yeah, like we'll have delay. Like
that's just
there's no delay. You have to make the cut like as you activate him. So yeah, I think that's probably all you need.
Yeah, couple questions. So when you said email along with the Discord, they're about the same time, right? So that it's like 48 hours from the...
It's 48 hours from the Discord because that's the most like public method of thing. But you should also send the email before the Discord if you can, just because like you don't want to send it after and they say, oh, I didn't see the Discord until like a day ago or whatever,
Right. And once the person who tries to poach puts a contract, can that contract change in any way?
No. So that's also important. Yeah. So that's, you want to be, if you really want this guy on a certain number of years, you probably want to try to get your offer in quicker. Like say an injury happens and like you want to poach someone, but you want it to be a 1-year poach, then you want to submit it before someone can do a 3-year poach, because then maybe you don't want the 3. Yeah. So it's going to be trying to like think about, all right, do I want to balance also Hua is a good point. You should probably add the person that you're poaching from, so we can change that a bit.
Okay.
For Andrew True, we don't have a practice squad yet. This is just a tutorial for when in season how we want it to be formatted. So you can watch the show later and it'll be basically clear what the procedure is.
Cool. Yeah, this is really cool. I don't think I have any other questions. So this is this is really
cool. I mean,
if
there are any other questions you could ask in Discord. I just wanted to show like the wording, because some people are just going to be like, yo, I'm poaching Manziel, like that's not enough. We need the terms of the deal, which is like how many years and how much the salary will be, and we need the clock to start 48 hours when it gets posted on Discord. Those are like the 2 main points. Probably
it needs to be a formal process that the whole league needs to be
right because this is everyone needs to have access to the same information at the same time so that it's fair.
Right. Yeah, by someone you probably mean John, right? Anyways,
sneak through coaches, that would be messed up.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I think that was really cool, really informative. Yeah, if anyone else has any questions, again, as Dustin said, we'll just put up on Discord. I think with that, unless Hua has anything to add from the chat, I think we can move on to the rookie draft review. Hua, anything? Nothing? Okay, cool. Let's just move on. So, first of all, Fantrax is pretty awesome for putting this kind of stuff.
It is. And honestly, the interface is kind of ugly in some parts. But you do get used to it. I will say, like, me on Fantrax, like, right now is much more comfortable than, like, 2 weeks ago. So I think people will start to, like, get the intricacies of, like, where stuff is and, like, why stuff is the way it is. But the functionality is just so like crazy above and beyond, A
lot of options, and this is a good fit for our league.
It
fits the scheme. So this was really exciting. The rookie draft was really cool. Before we go,
we actually had it on the software, which is pretty fun in itself,
Exactly. Before we go into the details of all the picks and stuff, did you have any like overarching ideas, themes, philosophies? I don't know if you talked with Matt about all of that beforehand.
Honestly, it was hard to tell. Like this draft was really hard to shake out beyond what I thought was number one. Like Josh Jacobs, I thought was number one. But then I did get a little swayed by the Kyler Murray stuff at like right before. Like just the upside on that is pretty interesting. But other than that, like it was so hard. We can talk about it later.
Huge. Yeah.
Other than that, it was so hard to like figure out like how people would be valuing what. Yeah. And it was such a mix of like wide receivers and running backs and even like tight ends. So like usually there's like a clear tier of like, okay, running backs that are going to have a good shot to be relevant. They tend to go earlier. Then like wide receivers that have potential. And then like QB that like people kind of like, but maybe isn't like getting that much buzz. But this year, Kyler is like a different QB just because the system that he's in already is like so enticing.
Yeah.
There's tight ends that like people liked in the first round. There's
we'll get to that.
Not as many running backs that have like really good chances at like a real job. Like it's usually like a split like role more than a real job. So it's kind of mixed in with all the wide receivers that are also in this draft. And then the wide receivers themselves are all like so polarizing and different. Like some are like physical freaks, some are production, some are just have a really good chance, some just have a really good offense that they could like if they do get a big role, like they can move up a lot.
Right.
So for me, like in the draft, it definitely shook out way different than I thought. Last year, I had a general idea of like where this guy was gonna go, like within one or two picks. But this year, it was just like, damn, this guy's still here, or like, oh damn, I was hoping to get this guy in my like, end of the second round, and he gets taken like, top 8 or something like crazy, and I'm like, okay, I guess that's good for me because like that pushes someone else up,
Right.
What about you?
It was all over the place. I mean, I have to go back to the lottery. So, it wasn't a great year for me to get lucky. I think if it was last year with Saquon or the year before that with Fournette, it would have been so much better to get that hands down number one back. But I mean, Josh Jacobs is great. There's no problem with that. But I think going into the lottery, just in the offseason, I like I said, I watched a lot of Kyler Murray. I was really in love with him. I was convinced that I was going to have him. Because I was not thinking I had the number one pick. I was thinking I was going to be, I don't know, somewhere in the 3 to 6 range.
And I thought Kyler was going to be a possibility anywhere from like 3 to like 5 or 6, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I was already just convincing myself, hey, I'm going into the season with Kyler. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be so much fun.
Dude. And then, he's half Korean. How can you not?
Yeah, the quarter Korean part.
The quarter Korean.
And he's the type of QB that I like, right? Like the history
mobile,
the mobility, he's amazing. I mean, a lot of
he's accurate as hell. He's mobile. He's creative.
Yeah. It's really. It was. I was definitely convinced that I was gonna get him, but then I went and got the number one pick, and so I had to just change everything. I had to now look at Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery, and
I think Jacobs was the smart and safe pick for sure.
For sure, but it took. I mean. It was a couple days where I had to think like, what if I just take Kyler at 1? Like,
I would have liked that too though. I honestly like not like just saying shit, but like I would have respected that a lot and just been like, you know what? If you think that guy's gonna be a star, like, fuck position, fuck spot in the draft, like just get the guy,
Yeah, right. It's there definitely was there was many internal discussions and turmoil for me to choose between. For me, it was really just between Josh Jacobs and Kyler Murray. So
I agree.
Man, but at the end of the day, I chose Josh. A lot of it has to do with our league structure. I think if we didn't have the cost, the $20 tag, that price tag on the first overall pick, it might actually have been Kyler. But
no, Jacobs is much
for that cost
more likely to like return value on $20.
Exactly. I had to.
Kyler could be like a superstar, but he could also just be a QB3 making $20.
Yeah. So we can just start with that. I mean, Kyler has a floor that is. It could be lowest of low, right? Like we saw Josh Rosen, who's a pretty good QB, And well, okay, maybe not pretty good, but he was a pretty good QB prospect going into.
I thought he was a good prospect for sure.
Right, going into last year, and then he really struggled in that Arizona offense. I mean, a little bit of it is the system, but you have Mike McCoy, etc., and now you have Cliff Kingsbury, so that's different. But still, there's the same, overall kind of level of talent, especially on that O line. So we don't know what's gonna happen.
No, people assume that Kingsbury is like guaranteed to produce like a great offense, and I think in terms of volume and like innovation, it's definitely going to be way better, right? But some people are already like penciling them in for like top 5 fantasy environment, and the talent there, like especially on the O line, it doesn't really support that. Like as good as the system is, you still need an O line to back it up, and I think you did make the right choice, but it would have been ballsy to go with Murray. I guess we're talking about the first pick already in effect.
First those between those two, honestly. Josh is great. I mean, the type of running back he is, so he doesn't wow you in any one thing. He just is great in a lot of different things, which makes him overall great. So it's like some of the parts.
To be fair, neither did like Mark Ingram. I mean, Mark Ingram was kind of like that kind of guy, like where he's like good at everything, but like not stand out, like athletic, stand out, like quick, stand out strong.
No.
Also played at Bama, right? And his tape was like, yeah, I think so. His tape was like also kind of hard to judge just because like their O line is always ridiculous.
Yeah, I like the way he runs. Good vision, good footwork. Can catch the ball pretty well, actually. I think that's one of his strengths. And so going into that Oakland offense where Isaiah Crowell,
I am more than anything, the guaranteed role and touches that he has over any other running back in this rookie draft is just enough to like say, okay, like, judging talent might be a crapshoot, but like on paper, this guy just has the biggest role to start. So why not like start there and then, you can pick out guys that you really like later in the draft.
Exactly. Yeah, but it was a struggle. Josh Jacobs won.
What other picks did you have? If we just go team by team instead of pick by pick.
Oh, okay, yeah, we can do that. So
because everyone has a first round pick, so we could look at their first round pick and then the rest of their draft, and then just go down the list, I guess.
Sounds good. I got Damian Harris, so I moved up in the draft to the 2.
Oh yeah, five free agent budget, right?
5 free agent budget to get Damian Harris, his former teammate. Josh Jacobs' former teammate.
all in on Bama running backs.
Bama running backs, yeah. But yeah, now he's on the New England Patriots. I think. So one of the reasons why I wanted to get into that round was I like Damian Harris's talent. I think he's pretty good overall. He's a great runner. Again, he's much more of like he's more of a power back. And I think if you think about New England and what they have in their backfield, right? I feel like they're missing that power component, and so I think Damian Harris can really find a role going into this year. I know Sony Michel played that power component last year, but it doesn't make any sense because he in Georgia was the pass receiving guy. Nick Chubb was the.
He was, yeah.
So it
and Michel is kind of injury prone as it is. Maybe they want to change their role.
So there's that too.
Yeah, so, he did. They did run him up the middle a whole lot last year. That's not what I was expecting out of him, but he did run pretty tough, so that was pretty impressive.
And I think if you look at all the other backs, none of them really have the same kind of like LeGarrette Blount type of
Oh, Wonky, can you switch to the grid view like in between?
Oh yeah, sure. That's a good call.
Right,
we're going by team.
yeah, and then we'll switch back to round to see in between after we finish So you had a lot of guys too.
I drafted a lot, yeah. So I think he's gonna be really good. We'll see how it works out.
When I was looking at a little bit of tape, what I saw was if Damian Harris ended up in Oakland and Josh Jacobs ended up in New England, I think I might have taken Damian Harris like first overall.
Yeah.
He's that good. Yeah.
I mean, he outproduced Josh Jacobs.
He did, and everyone wants to look at like measurables and stuff, but like production is still, especially if you look at how they got production. He's just a very smart runner. He has really good balance on his feet.
Really good.
And yeah, he doesn't fall down easily. So.
And he can also catch the ball. I don't think New England's gonna put him in that role, but
no, they have better. Yeah, or they have slightly.
If he's the power back, it's still going to be very useful. I think about that one LeGarrette Blount year where he just got all the touchdowns. Give me that, and I'll be happy. I don't even care about your yardage. Just give me 2 touchdowns a game. I mean, I guess that's a little bit much, but still, like, you know what I'm saying. If he gets all the goal line looks for that team, it could be big. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but there's a possibility because, again, Sony Michel is injured, has that knee issue, and he didn't traditionally play that. I mean, I know he did for 1 year, but it doesn't make sense. I think that's why New England actually chose Damien Harris this year in the 3rd round. It's a lot of draft capital, actually.
Belichick doesn't waste his picks. He usually has a plan, whether it plans out or not. Like, that's always a good thing. Like, you can tell how much they value someone by how much they invest in a player. You know, if they trade like a 6th round pick for you, I mean, maybe they think you're good, but like that means they're not like super sure that like it's gonna work out. But his 1st and 2nd round picks, even if they like don't pan out, you can tell like they wanted him to, or they saw like a specific role for him. So I mean, they don't just waste picks on, especially on offensive skill position players. Like, you know, I think he just couldn't pass up the value there.
Yep, that's a good point. And I like the O-line on New England, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and then you followed it up with
Hakeem Butler.
two Arizona wide receivers, actually.
Johnson. Yeah. I can kind of group them together. Well, Hakeem Butler, I liked on his own.
He's more talented for sure, I think.
Yeah, he has high upside. I mean, this guy's so. Before the draft, a lot of people were talking about how he's either going to be like the best wide receiver or like the worst, and I think a lot of it has to do with his size. He's 6'6", which is what some people think is too tall. It is pretty tall. It may get in the way, and one of his other big issues is that he drops the ball a lot. Especially a lot of the easy catches, quote unquote easy catches, he will drop them if you look at his tape. But he makes a lot of fantastic, phenomenal catches. The 50-50 balls, the deep balls. Because he's so big, his route running is kind of weird. But I think he's got a lot of talent. He fell in the NFL draft, so there is a little bit of concern. But we'll see. I don't think he's gonna be giving me any return this year. But I'm pretty sure I'm gonna put him on the practice squad, and I'll let him develop. Maybe he trains with Megatron and becomes like a new Megatron. We'll see.
I see him as a guy that'll be too inconsistent his rookie year to really depend on him to play. Like really, I mean, you could put him in during a bye week, but it would probably not be recommended. No. So yeah, he's a good practice squad guy. If I figure the other picks after, they're just in case like they pop in camp and look much better than what their drafted value was. Is that correct, you think?
Keyshawn Johnson, I just was because I was reading too much about Kyler Murray. I actually have no idea.
Two bites at the apple. 2 bites at the Arizona Cardinals apple, yeah.
I have no idea about this.
So much is settled there. So much is unsettled there that who knows? Maybe he just kills camp and opens the, season as like the number 3 receiver and then works up to number 2. Like, we drafted the rookies before preseason like completely, right? So honestly, like, you can take a bunch of guys that you think have a chance, and at worst, you'll just cut him. $1 dead cap for each guy. I mean, it'll be annoying, but it won't be too bad either way.
See, that's the thing. Like, I was reading about Kyler Murray, how he's doing, and for some reason, Keyshawn Johnson, 6th round pick from Fresno State. I don't know too much about him, but apparently he's been taking first team reps, and he's the only rookie to do so, which tells me something about Hakeem Butler and also Andy Isabella, who we'll talk about later. But Keyshawn Johnson's playing the slot, and he's apparently developing rapport with Kyler Murray. So who knows? Maybe he'll actually be the only rookie who starts in the first game.
I think that's really important for rookie quarterbacks too. Like, whoever they latch onto early on tends to be a guy that they, baseline like a good amount.
Yep. But yeah, honestly, other than that, I don't know much about him. So there's that. Bruce Anderson, I do know. I just picked him up because there's uncertainty in the backfield, in the Tampa Bay backfield. I think he's pretty good, especially pass catching wise. And we know Bruce Arians in his system a little bit.
Yeah, and neither one of the guys ahead of him.
Yeah, they can't pass catch as well.
Can't catch for shit.
So that's what I'm thinking. But again, we'll have to see through the preseason. Will he have that role? A lot of questions, right? Will he have that role? Will he be good at it? They still have Andre Ellington in front of him, I think, and maybe one other guy. So we'll see. That's probably a cut, honestly, after a month. But anyways, we'll see.
But worth a shot, I think.
Yeah. Cool. So there's that for my team. I basically took a lot more dudes than a lot of other teams, and with the first and last pick in the draft. But anyways, let's go back to by round, and let's go through Harlem. And this one's gonna be short. It's David Montgomery.
We went from the longest to the shortest.
David Montgomery is the only pick by Harlem. Yeah, what do you think about David Montgomery?
I like Montgomery. I think he was number 2 for me too. Obviously they lost Jordan Howard, and as much as Jordan Howard sucked, he still got fed a ton of valuable like goal line carries and just carries between, you know, the hashes and stuff. Like he's gonna have a good role. And talent wise, like I liked him. He didn't like stand out too much, but definitely combined with the role he's gonna have, I think was very worthy of the second pick.
Absolutely, yeah. I like David Montgomery. He again has a lot of good traits. Nothing that makes him stand out. Again, he can run the ball well. Like good, like I said, I think on Discord, he sets up blockers and defenders really well. So even though he's not the greatest athlete, he's actually really good at faking people out and making them take angles that are completely off. And on top of that, he's a good pass catcher. I think that's probably one of the things that the Chicago Bears wanted, Matt Nagy and their system.
Yeah. Because they
more than Jordan Howard.
They show their hand way too much whenever they put in like Tariq Cohen or Howard. Howard, it's almost guaranteed going to be run. Cohen, it's going to be a pass. Like I think Montgomery will help with that.
Yep.
And and like while this might not be true, you have to think like David Montgomery's floor, if he stays healthy, is Jordan Howard from last year.
It's close to that, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it probably is, right? I mean, there's a chance that David Montgomery is just a worse like NFL player. Like I'm not saying Jordan Howard is like the worst player ever, but most people are gonna think like he's got to at least be Jordan Howard in their minds, you know. So I like that, like, you know, you feel like there's a pretty good floor with him too. Similar to like Josh Jacobs.
You can't forget they also have Mike Davis. And I think Mike Davis is pretty good.
That's true. Mike Davis is like a little bit being overlooked, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
I need to.
It'll be interesting because there's a possibility where Mike Davis is pretty good and the David Montgomery doesn't get that much work. But there's also
especially in the first half of the season.
Right. So it can be up in the air, but the upside is definitely there. I think if you know he has like the capabilities, the skill set to be a 3-down back, and that's what you want at the top of the draft. So, yeah, I don't blame him. And I like, like as we said about his draft, he only took one guy, right? So I like what he did actually, because going in, a lot of you know pundits for the NFL draft, they were saying this is weaker, especially in the offensive side. So I think Harlem has shown us. That's what he thinks too. He thinks this draft is pretty weak. He's not going to invest in it. Not going to find someone for his practice squad. He's going to look in the draft for it, and that's completely fine by me.
Harlem always has a plan, and I'm pretty sure he has a good sense of what kind of players he would rather have than you know some of these rookies that came after him. And to be fair, the first spot that he passed at was the 6th round of the 3rd pick because he just didn't have a 2nd round pick, right?
That's true.
But at that point, he's just passing up guys like, you know, Daniel Jones, Raquel Armstead, like guys that are, you know, probably 50% of these guys get cut anyway. So he saved himself $1 probably. I do wonder if he tried to trade up into the 2nd round if he liked any of the guys, but you know, whether he did or not, like passing at the spot that he did pass at is completely fine, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like he didn't, and I think it's pretty wise.
Yeah. Everyone is enticed by the potential, but honestly, like looking at last year's draft, the 2nd round was complete garbage. You know, not like every now and then you get a Kamara. I mean, Baker was like the last pick of the 1st round for me. Yeah. But yeah, like usually there's one good guy in the second round, and you know if you have to trade up to get into the second round, like you know I can see why he didn't do it.
Yeah, I like it. I don't have any problems with it.
Yeah.
We'll go to Flushing Knights. They took Kyler Murray, of course,
This
trading
was
up.
this was juicy. This is juicy.
Yep, I like it. I love it.
I like it a lot too. I like it a lot too.
I told you
I
already.
have to say,
Yeah.
Andrew Chu has become one of my favorite owners over like the last year and a half.
Yeah, he's doing it right.
He's compiling value everywhere.
Right.
He gave away Kittle, who's a really good keeper, I think. But for him, it was a move up between
106 to 103.
Yeah, so for him, it's Darrell Henderson, who you know is a backup right now for Kyler Murray, who could probably pencil in as his QB2 right now, and has potential for more.
Absolutely.
Obviously, potential for less too, but like I think that's a worthwhile. You know, you're locking in a QB2 for pretty reasonable price at the third pick.
So he has got Deshaun Watson as his QB1 already. Anyway.
True.
So
yeah.
You got Kyler Murray, who sure he can bottom out, but he's got upside through the roof. And if you have that you're already top 5, top 3 QB.
That's such an exciting QB duo.
Yeah, amazing. It's amazing stuff.
If I were like a fan of the HFFL, like that's the team. That's the team I want to watch. You know, like two sick quarterbacks. You know, the rest of their keepers are so nicely set up.
Yeah.
I just love the pick. Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't have to go on much about Kyler Murray's talent. He's a talented guy.
Yeah,
very talented.
Honestly, though, I will say coming into the draft, I thought Kyler Murray would fall more to like 4 or 5 or like something like that.
Huh.
But the more I like looked at the prospects for the first round, I realized like the running backs or wide receivers ranked ahead of him on some lists and stuff. They're as much of a crapshoot as Kyler Murray, even like. I think the upside is just, and the fun factor, it's so good.
Yeah, you have to remember we're in Superflex too. I think his
Superflex, yeah.
And on top of that, yeah, as you were saying, like the running backs and wide receivers, even in this first round, I think honestly, if they were in last year's draft, these guys would be late first. I think even Josh Jacobs, he might be mid first. In my opinion, I think a lot of the guys in the top of the first, if you think about it, right, like Nick Chubb or Kerryon Johnson, those guys were pretty good, and they were taken in the second half of the first round. So,
yeah,
it's comparable to Josh Jacobs in my mind. But then again, Nick Chubb came out really well. Maybe it's more like Kerryon and Sony Michel. Maybe it's along those lines. But we'll see.
Yeah. What other picks do you have?
Yeah. So Flushing, where is he? Yeah, okay, right here. Kyler Murray, Noah Fant, and then Terry McLaurin. So. Noah Fant was taken second round, and then he took Terry McLaurin in the third round.
Fant was such a Flushing pick. They got an eye for the tight ends,
right?
Dude, Flacco throws to his tight end a ton, and the receivers in Denver aren't that settled.
And Fant is of the two tight ends from Iowa.
Yeah.
That came out.
He's the more receiving.
He's the more receiving one, right? And so I think that's more conducive to fantasy, and we'll see how much they actually use him in Denver. I think they will use him a lot. They have a void at that position, and as you said, Flacco loves the tight end position, so it could be a good match. And Flushing has an eye for it, especially for the tight ends from Iowa. But
he does. He knows tight ends.
So, yeah, that's definitely a Flushing pick. What do you think about Terry McLaurin?
That came a little bit out of nowhere. I did remember who he was when I Googled him, but he definitely wasn't on my draft radar. But I can respect the the shot at what he could be, I guess.
Yeah.
He went to Ohio State with Haskins, right?
Haskins, yep. Dwayne Haskins.
And like I said, rookies are just, it is also about talent, but if you don't have a supreme talent at wide receiver, a lot of times it's about, okay, I'm comfortable knowing how this guy comes out of his breaks. I'm comfortable knowing, where he likes the ball. So it gives him a head start. It's all a matter of, can he turn that head start into something that, lasts beyond training camp? But, it's worth a shot, I think, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that chemistry already with Haskins. Sure, he's a rookie, so he's going to be starting behind a lot of other wide receivers. I
Mm-hmm.
think he's I don't know exactly what position, the slot or whatever, but I want to say he is. I can't remember
Yeah, I think
exactly.
so.
But
I
in
think
any
so.
case, I think he's pretty talented. Likely, what Flushing will do is put him on his practice squad, right? I think this
I
is
think so too.
the
Yeah,
practice squad
that's
pick, which is
that's
pretty good
his.
in my opinion. When Dwayne
Mm-hmm.
Haskins steps in, maybe Terry gets an increased workload.
Right, right, right. You can wait. Yeah, you can wait and not have to worry about stuff like that.
Right. Even if it takes a year, we'll see if Terry can develop.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the fourth pick. This is when things got a little crazy. A
Yeah,
little
nutty,
crazy.
nutty.
Virginia coming in with the fourth pick, DK Metcalf.
DK Metcalf.
DK Metcalf. Um, so I think so he's very controversial. Very, very
Yes,
controversial.
yes.
I don't hate the player, but I
You hate the game.
wait. I don't hate the player. Yeah, I don't hate the player, but I don't like where Virginia took him. I feel like if you wanted DK Metcalf,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
Trade
you could
down.
have traded down. And,
I
and
think so too.
I kind of did this last year where I wanted carry on
Yep.
regardless of
Yep.
the number. So I moved down because I
Mm-hmm.
knew. I mean, sure, maybe I lose. Someone else likes carry on more than me, but then I'll have someone fall to me, or whatever. It'd be
Right,
fine,
right, right.
and you get them at a cheaper cost. You have to. We all have to remember with this draft, it's not like we're all choosing these guys and they all have the same monetary value. They don't. Their values
Yep,
are
yep.
set, and so at this fourth pick, I feel like you could have Virginia could have gotten DK Metcalf at a
Yeah.
better cost.
I
Um,
think the thing is, Virginia just thinks Metcalf is maybe the best player in this draft. Like
mm,
maybe the guy with the highest potential. And if you really believe that, quibbling over,
cost.
$4-6 in salary and maybe seeing him succeed on someone else's team, that's gonna kill you. So I mean, I don't see why you would think that DK Metcalf is that far and above, these other prospects. But if that's how he identified it,
Yeah,
then that's fine.
yeah. The
You
gap has to
gotta
be
you
big.
gotta
That's true.
yeah, the gap has to be big, and I think it was for him.
Yeah, it has to be. That's a good point. Yeah, so DK Metcalf, I mean, again, I don't hate the player. I think so. There are negatives with him. He is he is limited in his route tree. He usually only runs two routes. That's when I at least when I saw him at Ole Miss.
Yeah, yeah, no, very much.
But he does have really tantalizing measurables, right? He's got that prototypical size speed combo.
Oh, dude,
Um,
yeah. I mean, the
the
measurables
muscles,
itself are just pretty crazy.
right?
But you watch the tape and you watch like full games, and there are just quarters or even halves where he doesn't even get a look because the coverage is smart.
Yeah.
They're taking away the hitch, and they're putting a safety way over the top.
They
And
know.
then
They know.
like Metcalf just runs one of those two routes over and over again into coverage, and it just becomes the other half of the field game, right?
Right.
But the one thing I will say is Russell Wilson can
Yeah,
extend plays.
that's true.
Russell Wilson
That's
can
true.
create huge opportunities for a guy
Mm-hmm.
with that kind of physical talent. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's not the same as college where,
No.
the QB can only do so much.
Right. Right.
So I mean I personally didn't like him that high, but I can see if you really think Russell Wilson is gonna unleash this guy and he adds like one other route, maybe like a good slant or an out route like that, that unlocks him. That really could be a top 10 receiver even by next year. Just with those physical tools.
It's possible. I think it's
Yeah.
possible. I mean, he's going to at the red zone too. He can be a threat there.
Yeah.
Just give him a 50-50 ball, and that's it.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, the
This is the most
possibilities are there.
controversial pick, though.
Yeah.
Like, Hua will get the most credit for any pick if this turns out to be good, and he's gonna get the most mocking if Metcalf is what some people think, or like if he fails the way some people think he will fail.
Right. I think my only disagreement is that the gap isn't that large with the other wide receivers. But
I agree. Yeah, he's one of a group for me
yeah,
more than a clear top guy for me.
I don't. Well, I don't hate the player. I don't even want to look at the chat.
Wow, he turns like a sailboat.
Looking at the other picks that Virginia had, so in the second round, they picked up Dwayne Haskins, QB. I like the pick. I think Haskins is a pretty good quarterback, really good talent, and
dude, he was in contention to be the #1 pick before Kyler Murray decided he wasn't going to play baseball.
Exactly,
like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, if Kyler Murray decides to stay in baseball, and Dwayne Haskins ends up going like top 2 or top 3 or whatever. Mm-hmm. Where does he go in this draft? Probably a little bit before where he did. Yeah. End of first round, I think.
For sure.
End of first round is where I think he would go. And based on that, I mean, it's fine value. At worst, he's probably your third QB, like QB3, like just for your depth chart, assuming that he like can start by the time the bye weeks come around. And for $2, like, a QB3 costs that much anyway. Like, right. if you don't like any of the other running backs or wide receivers to break out, then this is probably the safest pick you can take in the second round. Like, that was my thinking with Baker. Like, even like we loved him, but like at worst, he's our QB3. And if we just go into the auction draft and we look for a QB3, he's gonna cost $2, $3, $4, something like that, right? So why not? I think it's a smart like Moneyball choice. You're getting guaranteed value there, and if he does break out, that's the most exciting thing in the HFFL. I think, like, following a young quarterback, especially because you just see so much of their personality. Yeah. You see that Jameis Winston is like an idiot. You see that Baker Mayfield doesn't know when to shut up sometimes. You see that, all that stuff, and you really start to be like, yo, this is my guy. Like, this is the guy that represents, like, my franchise. And I think, it's fun to draft and follow these guys. So
yeah, you see that
just for that factor, it's good.
You see Pat Mahomes have a Kermit the Frog voice.
Yeah, you see that he likes ketchup on his steak, and you're just like, what the hell? Yeah, it's honestly one of my favorite parts of the HFL.
Love it. What was I gonna say with Haskins? He, oh yeah. So one of the downsides with him is that he was a 1-year starter. So a lot of people have issues with that. I don't think it's that big a deal, especially when I was watching him. I felt like he was learning. Like, you could see he was learning and progressing. And if he's learning that quickly in that 1 year, I think it could keep going, and the sky's the limit for him. So
you're talking about Haskins, right?
Yeah. We'll see how he.
I think for me, it matters a lot whether they bring back Trent Williams or not, or whether they get him in or not.
Oh,
because I don't think Dwayne Haskins is a good improvisational quarterback. He's not a guy that. Yeah. When the pocket breaks down, he makes bad decisions.
Oh, that's a great point.
Their offensive line, when healthy, is like, without him, it would get a lot worse. So,
oh wow,
I would be paying a lot of attention to that if I were a Virginia fan.
Oh, that's a great point. Moving on, they picked Marquise Brown.
Yeah.
And then they followed it up with J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Wait, let me just double check. Marquise Brown is in the same late second round. That was with their 8th pick, and then in the 3rd round they picked J.J. Arcega-Whiteside.
Yep.
Marquise Brown, Hollywood, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
He was the first wide receiver picked in the real NFL draft.
Yep.
The problem in fantasy, though, is that he went to Baltimore, and I think a lot of people are already thinking about Baltimore as a fantasy graveyard where there's not going to be anything
for a passing game. Yeah, there's not a lot to go around, but there's enough for one guy. There's enough for one guy for sure.
At least one.
At least one. Yes. The one thing I don't like is that he had like a foot injury recently, right?
He did, Liz Frank.
Yeah, Liz Frank. Foot injuries are kind of bad for speedy receivers, and it's missed out, camp time that he could have spent bonding with, his QB,
Yeah, he's pretty light.
But he's very light.
Or something.
Yeah. Talent-wise, though, his tape is so fun to watch. He moves in a different way than a lot of other, players. Like, he'll just pick a direction and he'll just start going in that direction so much faster than like people can even realize.
Yeah,
so
he's gone. He takes off. He is electric, and like he could be like the next Tyreek Hill, maybe. That Liz Frank injury does concern me, especially for this year in terms of how he's going to adjust and acclimate to his surroundings in the NFL.
Yeah, I like him better as a guy to break out like maybe next year or a couple years down the line more than this year. It's probably going to be slow for a while.
Also have to mention that he's Antonio Brown's cousin. So
true.
Cousin,
Some
right?
good bloodlines. Yeah.
Arcega-Whiteside, ugly dude.
The ugly dude. That picture is not kind to him. Oh.
Basically, when I think about him, I think about a basketball player. He plays basketball out there. He's not playing football.
Yeah,
He just wins.
He boxes out.
Yeah, he
just
boxes out and he just wins on the rebounds. That's his game.
Does.
And I think if you think about Philadelphia, do they have anyone like that? Yeah, they do, right? Kind of.
Alshon.
Yeah,
Alshon, right?
So
yeah,
he
Alshon
could be the next Alshon, maybe.
Yeah, I think he needs like an injury probably, which Alshon gets plenty of. Because other than Alshon, they still have like Deshaun Jackson. They still have
Aguilar, Ertz.
Yeah, Aguilar, Ertz. So it probably requires one injury to get in there. Yeah. But I guess for a third round pick, you can't really be taking guys that have like super easy roles to like take.
Practice squad? Is it JJ or is it Marquise Brown? Which one?
I think it has to be JJ. I think Marquise Brown's talent is a little bit too enticing for someone to. I mean, you'd be risking him by putting him out there, and you would probably have a better chance at keeping Marquise Brown if he's on your active roster because he doesn't get the $5 raise this year, like just long term, That's a good point. So, yeah,
that's definitely.
Hua said, Wonky, you should talk about Lamar.
Yeah, Lamar, he runs a lot. Can't throw.
Do you think he can throw to the kind of receiver that Marquise is? I mean, Marquise gets so much separation, right? That has to be the easiest type of receiver to throw to, right? If you suck at throwing.
Why not handoffs? Why can't Marquise Brown do like jet sweeps?
I could see that. I just wish he wasn't like he's like 150 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, I think that might be a component to what Marquise Brown does for think of him as like a Tyreek Hill. He could be the Tyreek Hill of the Baltimore offense, the deep balls, right? I think that's the role that he will have. Personally, that's if I had the Baltimore Ravens offense, I would do that. But I don't have I'm not the offensive coordinator. If only. Yeah, that's what I envision. So it could be good. We'll see.
But yeah, it's definitely an interesting, exciting pick. What do you think that he has like 3 wide receivers in the rookie draft? And he's keeping Juju, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a lot of wide receivers going into the draft.
That's very interesting. I didn't even see that.
He's funneling all his scouting towards running back now.
Yeah, well, maybe this gives us an indication for what his draft strategy will be. Maybe.
That's true. Diaz has probably already plotted it all out. Oh, yeah, he knows exactly what he's gonna do.
He already programmed us in his draft simulator. But yeah, we'll ask Diaz that next time. Up next is another spicy pick, T.J. Hawkinson. As what is this? Fifth? 1, 2, 3,
Fifth,
4, 5.
Right?
Fifth overall pick.
Whew.
So when I was watching T.J. Hawkinson, he can really block. And when I envision him for this season, I just see him just mauling guys.
Yeah, he's a monster, dude.
For Kerryon Johnson. It's gonna be he's gonna be on the field, come on the field, and then boom, he's gonna just open up these massive holes for Kerryon Johnson to run through. And I think I don't want to be too mean, but I feel like that's what his role is gonna be. Like the offensive coordinator for the Lions is Darrell Bevel. If you think about the tight ends that he's had, he's the guy who asked Jimmy Graham to block.
Yep.
He's the guy who had like I don't remember, like the Vicente Scianco, I think.
Yeah.
Like this guy does not make. He even turned a superstar tight end into a really crappy one for fantasy. So
yeah,
I have reservations in the types of usage with T.J. Hawkinson. He's not a bad talent though. I will say that.
Oh, he's a great real NFL player.
Yeah.
For rookie tight ends, it's really hard to learn the blocking schemes and learn all your routes and get on the same page as your quarterback. So he's gonna have to choose one or the other in his like rookie year, or especially early on, right? And yeah, like you said, Bavel is gonna make him block first. I mean, that's gonna be his first thing. So I could see Hawkinson 2 or 3 years down the line being maybe even the best tight end in the league, just because he has that kind of potential.
He does.
But rookie year, I don't see him contributing on both ends of like, you know, his role, like to the level that would warrant number 5 pick, to be honest.
They still have Jesse James. They picked him up before the draft for a lot of money, I believe. It was in the millions. I mean, that's what I consider a lot. But yeah, Jesse James is there, and I think he's pretty talented, at least for now, right? Let T.J. Hawkinson develop, maybe come in on the 2 tight end sets or something, which they might run a lot of. I don't know. But yeah, I am hesitant to say that he's going to be that productive this year, and it feels like it was a bit of a reach.
I think so too. Late first, early second was where I was probably thinking he might go.
Yeah.
Although Andrew Chu was going to take him at 6, and he probably knows more about tight ends than I do. So.
Oh really?
Well, he said he was hoping to get him if he didn't trade up for Kyler. So.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So I know less about tight ends than Andrew Chu.
Maybe he's just really talented. He must be.
He is for sure.
So John had 2 more picks, and they were both. I think they were back to back in the second round. Mecole Hardman and then Deebo Samuel.
Mehard and Deebo Sam.
Yeah.
Deep Sam. D Sam.
So Mecole Hardman, he's in a very interesting case. He used to be a quarterback, and he converted to wide receiver.
I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, he has very.
That's not in my notes, Wonky. Why didn't you send me that?
He has very little time as a wide receiver, so it makes
that's better actually because he's raw.
Right. It's both a plus and a minus, right? Like he's not good right now, but he's just learning the craft of becoming a wide receiver. So the upside is very high. And I think before we got the Tyreek Hill news, he might have been the next guy for that role.
He would have gone probably top.
Oh yeah.
5 maybe even. Oh, yeah. He might have gone instead of where Hawkinson went.
Yeah. Yeah, just switch the 2.
Yeah. If you switch the 2, it's like, oh. I mean, this is the argument though. The Chiefs spent a 2nd round pick on him, right?
Yeah.
So they didn't just spend a 2nd round pick on a guy that they don't see like breaking into their team. You know, 2nd round is huge. And
it's big, yeah.
On that Chiefs offense, like, dude, it has so much to eat, you know? And Tyreek Hill, he didn't get an extension yet, right? Did he?
No, he didn't. They're working on it.
So, yeah, they are working on it, but I don't know. Maybe, you know, they're going to try to lowball him because of all the trouble. And, like, if Hardman gives him enough reason to, like, you know, move on and spend that money on, you know, a different, like, lesser wide receiver one, all of a sudden, you know, Hardman could be moving up on that depth chart for sure.
Yeah, to me, it seems like he's a perfect practice squad guy. I feel like he's got the upside. And he's raw, so he's going to take some time to learn. And he's in a prolific offense. So I like it. I like it a lot. Deebo Samuel, that guy, also 2nd rounder. He is, I think his name is something else, but it's short for the bully, which is why
the bully.
Deebo. But he's a monster. He almost is like a running back sometimes. When you watch him, he can just
dude. He built like a running back too. Yeah. He's like not that tall. His arms aren't like super long for a wide receiver, and he runs like you know, well with the ball.
Yeah, he's a very good runner with the ball. I think he can do a lot of different things for San Francisco, and I think that's what they're going to use him for. He's going to be just a very multiple type of weapon for them. I forgot the word. Variable weapon. We'll see. I don't know.
Versatile.
Yeah, versatile weapon for them. I like him as a practice squad player as well. But
who would you practice squad of these 2?
I think Mecole.
I
think the upside for Mecole is much higher because of
and he's gonna be slower to contribute. I think just because Tyreek Hill is missing games, like the chances would be so much more early on. But you know,
also the name, the Mehard. Come on, that's
too easy for you. Mehard. It's right up John's alley.
It's too easy. All right, let's go to Oakland. 6th overall pick. They took Darrell Henderson. This is right before your pick.
Yep.
Did you have any Any thoughts about that?
No, I mean, I like the value. The upside on him is probably even higher than like anyone picked ahead of him, just because the offense he's in is, it's guaranteed. We saw it with C.J. Anderson. We've seen it with pretty much anyone that lines up behind Jared Goff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Gurley has, I think, a minor knee injury. I'm not sure. So always good to have this high
Yeah.
upside, backup. The
Uh-huh.
only thing is, I don't know if he's the backup to
Yeah. That's
Gurley
what I was
right
about to say.
now,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So it will take some work even with a Gurley injury. But I mean, the long term value potentially. Let's say Gurley gets torn up this year again, and it looks like his career is either severely in question or a problem. And Henderson, I think, is more talented than anyone currently ahead of him in the depth chart. And so if he's splitting carries even next year, like a true split in that offense is probably worth that's probably a top 15 running back easy, if not better.
Yeah. I'll say two conflicting things. I was about to say that Darrell Henderson might not be the backup to Todd Gurley. I think there are other running backs who might be ahead of them in that capacity.
Mm-hmm.
But
That let me just say that is the reason that even if he did fall to me,
yep.
even with my Gurley investment,
Yep.
he wasn't going to be the pick for me at
Ooh.
right after.
Ooh.
That's why. I mean,
Damn.
I think the upside is huge, but I just don't. I'm not just sure that he's the win now guy that I'm looking for.
So what I was gonna say with Darrell Henderson is that I think even if Todd Gurley is healthy, I think he's gonna be productive. And the reason why I think this is that he will be in on two back sets. I think he can play, or even as a pass catching role, like
Mm-hmm.
Alvin Kamara in that offense. I think that
I
this guy
actually
can
I
do that.
actually agree with that too, though. I think they will start. I mean, Gurley's not going to have the same bell cow role that he did,
No
and
way. Yeah.
there's just so much left over for another running back to eat up.
Right. Right. So I
So
think
yeah, so his ceiling is actually lower than I said earlier, and his floor is actually higher than
right.
also what I said.
That's what I have tapped for him, for sure.
Yeah,
I think he's talented. There's no question on that. He's a great back.
yeah, it's a good pick. I personally also wouldn't have picked him just because I like to ignore all the news about Todd Gurley's knee being arthritic. So to me, that injury doesn't exist. So why am I going to take you know the backup of a good running back all the way up at like 6 or 7? So that's probably
Honestly,
the bigger reason. But
yeah.
honestly, yeah. But to be truthful, he wasn't probably the pick even if Duo passed on. Depends on who Duo
Honestly,
took.
I don't even think if Gurley gets hurt, it's gonna affect Henderson that much. I feel like
Yeah,
someone else will step
yeah.
in. I
I
think he
think
has his own
Henderson's
role.
role might stay the same,
Yeah.
and then the other backup actually just takes instead of a
Right.
a 30-70 split, it might turn into a 40-60 split. But
Right. Right.
it's
Right.
he's
Yeah.
gonna have
Exactly.
he's gonna have the slightly smaller end of a split there, I think.
Yep. Yep. Fantastic pick. Even at this quote unquote high, I think he's not in this high of a slot in traditional drafts. Maybe I'm not even sure, but it's a great pick, honestly.
Yeah, I like it long term more than anything. It is a ticking time bomb for Gurley's knee, and if Henderson is talented enough, his role is just going to keep growing, and you can keep him for pretty long
True.
when you drafted him at the sixth pick of the first round.
Rams offense. I think that's
Yeah,
probably
give
another
me
key
give me
factor.
shares of the Rams offense. Yeah, that's always something good to speculate on.
Yeah. So Oakland's next pick was the top of the second round, and they kind of, I feel like they might have shocked a lot of people. Alexander Madison, running back for the
I
Minnesota
that was higher
Vikings.
than yeah, that was higher than where I was thinking he would go.
Yeah, me too. And I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I think Madison's a great running back, and uh,
Mm-hmm.
I think the Vikings are gonna run more,
Yeah.
and Cook always gets injured.
Mm-hmm.
So why not Madison filling in? I mean, maybe also it's the same thing with Henderson. Maybe Madison has value even before that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I liked how Duo backed it up with
Tape.
some tape analysis. He sold me. That cutback, that good balance, good vision. Like, whew.
He's a talented guy. I do
Yeah.
like him. Um, any issues with when he was taken though? You think it was a bit too early?
I think he could have waited. I think he could have waited a few picks. But you know what? I don't really have a big problem in the second round not waiting, just because they're all worth $2. Like you're not saving much other than you might pick up an asset trading down, but like that's work in itself. So I don't mind where he took him. He wasn't going to get around to his next pick. So yeah, why not take him there?
I think it's fine. You're right. What you just said is not. He probably won't last until 301. So
yeah.
And at 301, that's where he took Darwin Thompson.
Yeah, all these guys are backup running backs. He's just praying for some bad turf to catch up someone's knee right now.
And on good offenses. I think that's the key. The Kansas City offense. Darwin Thompson's pretty talented. He picked a lot of like pretty under the radar but good talented backs. And I think Darwin Thompson fits the mold again. He's a little bit different style as Madison, but he's more. I think he's a really good fit for Kansas City. The really quick twitch kind of pass receiving skills too. I think he's a good running back.
Yeah, and honestly, maybe you're not sold on not Darwin, Damian Williams being all that good. I think he is pretty good, but also Hyde looked kind of done at points.
Yeah. Who is the practice squad guy here, if any?
It has to be Thompson, unless he decides that Thompson is too far down the depth chart to even keep going into the rookie draft, which it could change in a week or two, right?
Right.
But yeah, right now it would be Thompson. He's the higher upside guy long term, I think. Just it'll take a while for Damian Williams to probably either lose his job or secure his job. It'll take some time before people are like, okay, like this guy is for sure a starter here or not.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Yeah, so I would want to wait. On that. The question I do have about Duo's draft is, I wonder if he just started scouting rookie running backs, and then he just ran out of time.
Ran out of time for his picks?
No, ran out of time to scout. He took 3 running backs. Did he pass up any good wide receivers, or
he passed up a lot? I think.
Right. I mean, maybe that's a strategy, just get a lot of running backs. But it is weird that he went 3 running backs in a row without mixing it up.
I don't hate it though.
Not necessarily bad. Yeah. You're taking 3 shots at. Running backs get injured so much. If one of them gets injured in the next 2 weeks, value goes up a ton more than if wide receiver gets injured in front of someone.
And think about all the rookie wide receivers from last year. A lot of them didn't really do anything. Maybe late. But
wide receivers take a while to come in. So if running backs can do it right away.
Right. If you're playing for this season, why not take the shots for this season?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fine. I don't have an issue with it. Okay, now it's your turn to just talk all you want about N'Keal Harry.
He's a guy that we had a little bit higher on our board, so I was surprised to see him there.
Yeah, I bet.
Up and down camp so far, as you've been alerting me every day. But to be fair, he has made some pretty sick plays in camp too. So it's not just all. For me, it comes down to believing in Bill Belichick. If he spends a first or second round pick on an offensive skill position player, it doesn't guarantee that guy is going to pan out, but it does guarantee that they've thought long and hard about how they see that guy fitting into their offense, And I trust that Bill Belichick is a smart guy. I know that there's still a chance of failure, but I'm gonna trust that the Patriots have somewhat of an idea on how to use him and what kind of role he could have.
Yeah, I really like him. I think he's the best wide receiver in the draft. When I see him, I see a young Demaryius Thomas, which is funny because I have him on the roster.
Yeah.
So maybe he'll learn from him. But that's the type of receiver he is. He's good at the 50-50s. He's good at the bubble screen. He takes a lot of bubble screens to the house.
So I went over some of the receivers I've taken in the past, and I was trying to figure out, all right, why are so many of these guys failing? And what I saw was I picked a lot of body catchers, guys that catch with their body. And in college, you're bigger than the cornerback. Yeah. You got physical talent on him. So you can catch through your body and no one's going to go through you. So I was looking a lot for guys that can catch with strong hands instead of, have a good sense for, attacking the ball instead of like, shielding the ball away from defender.
Yeah.
So that's what I liked a lot about Nikhil. To be honest, like I did not see him falling to 7. So I liked him and then I was like, okay, but like, all right, so what are we actually going to get? Yeah. So when he fell to 7, we had to like look at the tape all over again and make sure like, wait, we really like do like this guy, right? And like the tape, I mean, I love the tape. He really like, I guess the one thing is he doesn't get that much separation, but I think that makes his floor pretty good because like he's so good at catching without the separation,
Yes.
And like, dude, his hands when he goes to attack a ball, like he has some like concentration drops problems, but like when he's like concentrating on like catching a ball, like he goes and gets it, which so fun to watch. And at 1.7, I mean, that was as good of a prospect we could have hoped for, honestly.
Absolutely. I am curious about what the 3 people were thinking about N'Keal Harry. Maybe it's just the fact that they like their guy more than N'Keal Harry, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder if it's something against N'Keal or if
I think it's more the thing that the Patriots offense is very tricky for wide receivers. It kind of, the narrative went from running backs like are hard to like roster in New England to now wide receivers because like. But true. I mean, they vacated a lot of targets. Like
no Gronk.
No Gronk. That's huge. They lost Chris Hogan, right?
Yes.
They got Demaryius Thomas, but he's coming off Achilles and he's like super old. They have Dorsett, I think, I think decent, yeah. But I think N'Keal's like potential to be the red zone guy. I think is so high because Edelman is not a red zone guy. Neither is. I mean, maybe old Demaryius Thomas is, but I mean, Dorsett, not that big of a threat. I just see like him early on just like kind of being used as like a red zone weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a matter of like, can he learn the rest of the playbook well enough to be in all phases, wide receiver?
Yeah.
Which, that one's a little bit more up in the air, but I do think he has a good chance.
Again, I think Demaryius Thomas might have to teach him some little tips and tricks. It should be good. I think it'll be a good marriage for them. Where are you here? Okay. N'Keal Harry, and then you got Justice Hill.
Mm-hmm. Hill is a guy that we were actually
second round
considering for our first round pick. Like when we were before Harry fell, we were like he was one of the names that we were talking about. If all our other guys are gone, like do we want him?
Spicy. I like
he has crazy explosion in closed spaces. Like he when you watch his tape, he just explodes in like whichever direction he cuts, and
he's fast. Yeah,
he's so fast. Like and quick. Yeah, like his acceleration, I think, was by far the one trait that I really liked, and that's like what made me like really like him. I know he has Ingram ahead of him, and Ingram is a very good running back. He also has Kenneth Dixon kind of in there, and Gus Edwards, Gus the Bus. So it's definitely crowded, and he might not even have any kind of role for a while. But I think his just potential is just so high, especially combine him with a running quarterback, and that like quickness, like linebackers and DNs have to decide, and both of them can go in opposite directions so much faster than like your mind can process. So I really like that his potential is super high. I think he does have guys in front of him, but other than Ingram, I think he could, pass everyone else. And as we've seen, a running back can succeed, as the second guy now, like especially if you have big play potential, which I think he does. So his profile was something that we really liked. We knew it was a little bit of a stretch at like 1.7, so we were kind of thinking, like, would we have to trade up in round 2 or what? But then like the draft just shook out that he fell to us in 2.7, so we took him right away.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I think the speed component that he brings from the backfield, it's just unparalleled, unmatched in the guys that you talked about. So I think
Yeah.
he's got a role regardless.
He's the guy that when we watch tape, we were like on paper, like I don't want this guy, but I keep watching his tape and I'm like, if he turns out to be a star in the NFL, I'm just gonna be like, damn, like I saw how this could be
I love it.
that kind of player, you know?
Love it. Yeah.
I understand that it is a high chance of failure, but I do also like so much what I saw that like I wanted a piece of him, whether he fails or succeeds, you know?
That's awesome. Yeah. That's admirable too. Gotta just go with what you believe. That's
Right?
awesome.
Yeah. Sometimes you're like discussing, all right, this guy's role is probably gonna be this, like this guy has this guy in front of him, but then sometimes the tape is just
Doesn't
like,
matter. Yeah.
oh damn, like this guy, the way he moves, like the way he shakes, the way he cuts, like it just looks so good. So, you know, we were pretty happy to get him at 2.7.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much more thoughts than just the fact that he's quick and fast.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, that's all I needed. No, for sure. That's pretty much the definition of what it is. Like there's a lot of talent in that running back that muddles it up, whatever, but he's quick and fast. I mean,
yeah,
that's a good place to start.
You took Miles Boykin in the 3rd round, so back-to-back Baltimore picks here.
Yeah, I had to double up on the Baltimore. Boykin actually wasn't really on our radar too much, like when we were discussing rookies, but then, you know, with Marquise Brown being out, Boykin was doing well at camp. So,
yeah,
you know, when he fell to us, you know, like I said, you know, someone's going to have to eat there. And I don't think it's Willie Snead. Like Willie Snead is like the only other wide receiver that even has like 40 catches in his career there, right?
Yes.
And Boykin is, you know, he wasn't a first round pick like Marquise Brown, but he is fast. He's tall. He also does catch with his hands a lot. And he, you know, a little bit of a like camp reviews have been pretty good for him. So, you know, at that point, why not take a shot? Like that's a good flyer wide receiver for us. So yeah, that was a pretty easy pick. We were hoping that he fell to us like starting from like early third round, and yeah, when he fell, it was that one was pretty obvious for us too.
I was upset that you took him because I really wanted Miles Boykin. I really like
the
guy.
Dude,
he's a top 5 receiver for me in this draft. He has the speed size combo.
Yep.
In terms of athleticism, he's one of the greatest athletes I think in the draft. I'm not sure if people realize it, but he actually is. He's just an amazing talent. I think a lot of times his QB held him back. I think
that's what I saw a lot too. But what it does show is like his catch radius is sick. Like he's also another guy that goes to get the ball. Like you know.
He 50-50 balls. Yeah, he can do it.
Yeah, 50-50 balls, and you know, I do. So my only question is like, what kind of receiver does Lamar Jackson like to throw to? And you know, I had no like real data on it, but like at that point in the draft, I like, you know, my odds. You're risking very little and potentially getting, you know, someone's favorite target.
It could be your number 1 wide receiver.
which is very useful, I think. So
there's a massive void, right? So as you were saying, and so we'll see. I don't know. It might take longer than expected, but the camp reviews have been good. He's building the chemistry with Lamar. Maybe Lamar struggles with passing. Who knows? But I think Boykin's a really strong talent regardless. And then you went on to take Ryquell Armstead.
Yeah. I can sum up the 2 running back picks we took. Those are guys that we're gonna just keep an eye on. Might cut him, might sneak him onto our practice squad. Really depends. For Pollard, it's pretty much all because Zeke is holding out right now, right? And while I do think he'll come back at some point, and Pollard probably isn't the primary back, but if Zeke, you know, does hold out into the season, there's worse things to do than, you know, just have, you know, one of the running backs behind him, especially because Alfred Morris, he's reliable, but, you know, he's not shiny, you know?
No.
And then Ryquell, I think the talent is actually really good there, but he's obviously blocked pretty hard by Alfred Blue and Fournette. But I mean, Alfred Blue is such a whatever guy, so I'm like discounting him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a preseason rookie injury to Fournette, and everyone knows Fournette gets hurt like every other week, would vault him up like way higher. And even without it, he could be a pretty decent handcuff to sneak onto a practice squad. True. So those are two shots at, probably sneaking onto my practice squad. Might cut one of them, might even cut both of them, depending on, how I feel. But yep, those are guys that are on the bubble. But I really liked the potential upside, even if it's not that high with them.
So your practice squad guy is gonna be one of the RBs. It's not gonna be Miles.
Well, it depends. Like if neither one of the running backs weren't a roster spot, I might even cut them both and put Miles on my practice squad. But if I really want to hold on to one of those running backs, and I think I might, like, then Boykins could sit on my active roster.
Cool, very cool.
Yeah.
Next pick is Albany. They took Miles Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
He reminds me of a guy who's trying too hard to be Saquon. He really
he went to Penn State, right?
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah.
And he sat behind Saquon for a bit, and I think he's trying to mold his game after Saquon.
I actually know exactly what you're talking about. It's that thing where he tries to
so hard
keep his balance as people tackle his legs, which Saquon does because his quads are fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But for anyone else, it's like so hard to like try to like keep your balance and chop your steps as guys are like squaring up your legs like right at him.
Unfortunately for Miles Sanders, he's not Saquon. So it's a minus for him. And the other thing that I don't like about Miles Sanders is that he fumbles a lot. So those are the two main things that I don't like. But other than that, he's a pretty good back. I think he has a lot of talent. I feel bad for just crapping all over Ken's pick here, but he's going into a pretty good situation. The Eagles, the field is a bit crowded, but it's a good offense.
That offense is good for sure.
It's a lot of value. Also, let's not forget Miles Sanders. A lot of people I think have him as a top half guy in the first round. So, to fall all the way to the end of the first round.
Miles Sanders is better the worse that you think Jordan Howard is, and Jordan Howard is a big topic for our league just because he seems to be the punching bag, and if you think he's really not anything that even deserves like a lion's share of carries in an offense, then I mean Sanders should fill that role and be a better version of it. If you do think that fully of him.
And Sanders has the potential to be a 3-down back. I think that's something that Jordan Howard will never have. I think they tried to force it in Chicago, found out it doesn't work, and then things happened the way they did. Miles Sanders actually does have potential to be he could even be better than Josh Jacobs with David Montgomery. Yeah. It's possible.
Honestly though, I've seen Sanders in like rankings put together with Montgomery and the top group. So value-wise, I really don't hate it. It's great. I agree. I'm not as high as top 3 on him, but like, at 8 or whatever, it's pretty sweet.
Why didn't you take him?
So I just don't like Doug Peterson's running back management style, honestly. Like, I even did like the talent on the tape, like a decent amount. Like, I was like, okay, like he is trying too much, but like he also like is pretty good, and like
he is dynamic.
That offense could give him good opportunities, but I just don't buy that Peterson is gonna commit enough to any one of them. I just see this like crazy like 3-way, 4-way split where Corey Clement gets like some stuff. Darren Sproles, I mean, he came back from retirement or whatever. Like, I'm sure he's gonna do something. And then you have Jordan Howard, who they traded for. Like, they're probably at least gonna give him a shot. And then they have the guy that they took in the draft. So I mean, there's a lot going on.
Smallwood too.
Josh
Adams too. Like,
all these guys. I just don't trust Doug Peterson more than anything.
What you said?
I just don't want that headache personally.
That's probably what everyone thought from Flushing down.
I mean, he wouldn't have fallen if Doug Peterson even had a little bit of history of going to one running back and sticking with it for a while. Then he probably would have gone top 5 at least. But
for sure.
Yeah, otherwise you're just like, I mean, maybe they just didn't have the right talent, and this is a talent, and they'll commit like, a 70% share to him eventually. But I just don't want to think about it. So he wasn't really in too much consideration for that pick, personally.
Definitely agree. And plus, he had injury, maybe injuries. He
Yeah,
definitely was
yeah
injured, and
he missed a chunk of.
yeah, I think he might have gotten hurt again today.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways,
That's what happens when you try to run like Saquon.
exactly, it's true.
It's
Just
true though. It's
just
true.
just make a decision and go for it.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah. Dive into the little hole that
yeah,
you see.
come
Like
on, man.
fucking.
Don't hurt yourself. Where is
Yeah.
he? All right, Deontay Johnson is his next pick. I think that was in the
Third round.
third round. Yep, third round, and then in the fourth round he took Travion Williams. So Deontay Johnson first.
Yeah, he. So for me, he's basically James Washington, except at a third round price. I mean, not the type of player he is, but the
That
type
kind
of
of, yeah.
role
I
that
know
you're
what you're saying.
speculating on.
Right,
You're
right, right.
speculating that he jumps up and takes, you know, there's going to be a lot left over from Juju because Antonio Brown is gone.
Right,
You're speculating that he jumps up and takes a big chunk of that, right?
right.
And while last year, I think James Washington went like second pick of the second round. Deontay Johnson's going eighth pick of the third round. So I mean that's a fine price to speculate on that kind of thing, you know?
Right.
You're not passing up anything that's really that useful at that point.
It's true.
So
It's true.
I really did like that pick. Deontay Johnson was even a guy that I was thinking of at the Miles Boykin pick for me. Like he was a name that I was considering.
Ooh.
I ended up going with Boykins just because he's shown more so far, you know? But I mean Steelers, put out like a fucking Pro Bowl wide receiver like it's nothing, like every other year, right? So yeah, maybe he's the guy. I would be 0% shocked if he ends up being like, the third wide receiver there for most of the season and puts up like a top 40 wide receiver season, if not better. So I mean, at that value, I like it a lot.
Probably not this year though, right? I think
probably not this year, but I mean, stranger things have happened.
That's true.
Who's ahead of him right now? I mean, other than Juju?
Dante Moncrief.
Okay, Moncrief. Moncrief's a guy, but
James. No, is it James Washington? No, I think Deontay Johnson's ahead of James Washington already.
He is apparently. So yeah, I mean, I'll take a chance on it at least. I think they have like one other guy that's like kind of decent, but like yeah, who knows?
Do they have Switzer? Do they still have Switzer?
Yeah, they have Switzer. Yeah, they have Switzer.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know exactly where. So I don't know much about Deontay Johnson. I'll just be honest. I haven't watched him at all. So I heard that he could be like an Emmanuel Sanders. Maybe he's in the slot. I don't know, but I think he is. I think he is already ahead of James Washington.
He is. The Steelers coaches have been, kind of hyping him up already.
Ooh.
They said that like we're not comparing him to these guys, but the things we see with Deontay Johnson are the things we saw, when Emmanuel Sanders came through, when Antonio Brown came through.
Whoa.
And then he was like, no, I'm not saying that they're the same talent, but he's making steps in his progress that like those guys did, and it's very reminiscent of them. So, I mean, it's camp talk, and like you can't really put any stock into it. But what is it, like eighth pick of the third round? I love it. I honestly think that's a good pick.
Yeah.
Travion Williams, I'm more ambivalent on. I don't really know anything about him. I don't know who's ahead of him other than Mixon. So yeah, he's just Bernard. He's just whatever to me.
I think it's probably like both of us have those late running backs.
Yeah, right.
It's us three.
Yeah, no, I think it's
taking picks here.
In case Mixon's not been super healthy, so like maybe he gets hurt and that opens up something big for him.
I don't know much about Travion Williams either. I guess he's talented enough.
Yeah, I wish one of us had analysis on him, but I really don't know what kind of player he is even.
I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So
it would be fitting. It would be fitting if he ends up being the best player in like the third round and back.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. Best player in this whole draft.
Yeah, we don't know shit basically.
Yonkers. They took AJ Brown in the ninth pick in the first.
What do you think of AJ Brown as a Mariota truther for so long? You must have some insights on that Tennessee offense.
First of all, I'm done with Mariota. It's over. No, but I think
we had to have an intervention for Wong Q. You need to stop the Mariota.
Nah,
it's anchoring you to a bottom like QB2 for the price of like a low end QB1 or QB2.
The thing is, this is a tangent, but like he is still talented. Mariota's still talented. The thing is, he always gets injured every single year, and it's not like he doesn't even get injured like halfway through the season. No, first game, elbow gone, nerve gone. Like what do you want me to do? Like he can't stay healthy.
He's basically Sam Bradford, except Sam Bradford's like really good moments have been even a little bit better, but it's similar that they show flashes of like, damn, this could be a good quarterback.
He can
and
be.
They just can't. They just can't stay on the field.
I mean, how do you expect him to throw if he can't feel his arm? He's been playing around with his weight. Like he loses weight, gains his weight back. Like what? Just stick to one thing.
He's just trying things to like get a longer leash. He's like, no. Like I gained weight. This is gonna be different. And then it fails anyway. He's like, okay, no. I had to lose weight. That's what it was. And they're like, okay, we'll give you a shot again. And then it's like, no, I'm wearing contacts this year. It's like, okay, try that. Pretty soon he's gonna run out of excuses.
He sported that mustache. It was weird. It was weird times. But I mean, I think the Tennessee team itself is already a little shaky. They got Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
Another guy who every year they say that he's gonna break out. So yeah, it's a weird situation.
I like Brown as a player a lot, actually. If he ended up on a different team, sorry, like Tennessee Titans fans, but if he ended up on a different team, I would have loved to take him like, a lot higher. But how excited do you get like owning a piece of the Tennessee passing offense?
Not very excited. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's such a good talent. I think maybe even can. So how much is the contract for AJ Brown? Can he even be practice squatted? Maybe that's
no, he can't. No one in the first round can be.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. But I think it's long term. I really don't think there's any world where Tennessee can sustain multiple pass catchers.
Yeah, especially early on, a rookie just jumping in and
Yeah, I mean I do really like the player. Again, he's very versatile. He can play all three positions. He could play outside. He could play slot. He can do it all. He's great. Gets open. Everything. Can catch. He's good. It's just he plays for the Titans, which may be a good thing for Jay because of his love for the Titans.
Well, maybe he knows more about the Titans than we do. They got a new offensive coordinator, right?
Yeah, it's a homegrown guy.
Mm-hmm.
But we just don't know. We have no idea. Yeah. I don't know what he's gonna run, honestly. No. So we'll see. It could be more exotic Smash Mouth. I think so. Jay, he traded his second round pick to me, and then in the third round he took Daniel Jones, quarterback, New York Giants.
That's a practice squad guy, right?
Has to be.
The definition of a practice squad guy, right?
Definition. He is not ready. First of all, he's not ready. And
like I'm pretty sure in all the mock practice squatting we did, like behind the scenes, like Daniel Jones is the guy. It's like, so what happens if someone poaches Daniel Jones? It's like I know I used Tim Tebow, but like Daniel Jones could easily have been the real life equivalent of the guy that everyone thinks is going to be practice squatted.
Right. The price here is fine. End of third round, you're taking someone who could even be starting by the end of the season. So
yeah,
no problem
I think he's likely to be starting at least like by the end of the season.
I just think that he's terrible, and I think I've already detailed this on Discord. I think I've already talked about how bad he is. But
although to be fair, you said Josh Allen was similarly going to be terrible, and he wasn't terrible. He was just like up and down. He had some flashes of good stuff. That's
true. I could be wrong. That's always a possibility. I think Daniel Jones is worse than Josh Allen.
I think so too. Oh my God, I don't get why. Why did they take him at 1-6? It made no sense.
It's because he had the same guy who.
I know that's such a dumb. That's such a dumb reason. I've never heard of a dumber reason. Oh my God.
So if you watch Daniel Jones, and I did a little bit, I had to stop because it was so bad, but I did a little bit. He kind of looks like the way he moves in the pocket reminds me a lot of Peyton. Like
Yeah.
he like moves with that same, like he holds the ball the same way. You could tell there is that influence on the footwork and everything. Pocket
Yeah.
management, it's all there
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
But he's so bad at making decisions and throwing the ball with accuracy. It's so bad. All the things that you actually need to get the ball to a player for productive yards. All of that good stuff for QBs.
I agree. I will say though, the one good thing about Daniel Jones is a guy gets taken that high. If he has 2 or 3 good games, people are gonna buy it a little bit quicker than if, like, a 4th round QB has 2 or 3 good games. Everyone will be like, wait on this guy, like he's not a supreme talent. And obviously Daniel Jones isn't a supreme talent either, but at least someone will be like, oh damn, he got picked top 10 for a reason, right? And I guess it could have trade value if he has a good.
I mean,
I don't know. There's not a lot of good stuff to say about Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I'm on the verge of tears. This guy, God
damn. I do like, in general though, I do like quarterbacks on the practice squad because you can really wait on, like, even having to make a decision at all. It's a free roster spot, and if a couple games in you're like, oh damn, this guy's good. Like, quarterbacks, are safe long-term keepers, or safer than a running back might have 2 good games and then, like, be completely bad by the same year.
Right. Yeah. Let's
like, how many running backs have come in the middle of the season, start 2 games, light it up, and then someone poaches him or you activate him, and then he isn't starting by the end of the year.
Right. And, like, think about the QB development time too. It takes up.
Yeah. I mean, the practice squad for fantasy is made for quarterbacks, really, more than anything.
So why not Drew Lock here, right?
And I would have gone Drew Lock, to be honest.
And that's a question for everyone too, because no one took him.
True. I would have if I didn't have guys that I already liked for my practice squad, but if I had gotten none of the running backs that I liked for my practice squad, I would have probably considered Locke before Daniel Jones.
Right. It's a collective question. I mean, I'm not targeting you here.
It is, yeah.
It's Drew Lock, even for maybe Yonkers. Maybe he just holds 2 for the preseason and then just chooses 1 at the end or something like that. I don't know.
True, yeah.
Drew Lock is better. I mean, Drew Lock is I think he's like a Jay Cutler clone. Like he
kind of has that same mentality. Yeah. His body language is kind of similar too, actually.
Big arm.
Yeah, huge arm.
But he is inconsistent still.
Yeah.
But still better than Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is just
yeah.
So
Daniel Jones is depressing.
And after that sad note, we finish it off here with LIC. They take Paris Campbell, last pick in the first round.
Yep.
I really like his speed, his quickness. But one thing when I was watching Paris Campbell is that, you guys were talking about how it's impossible to tell anything from Josh.
I was going to say the same thing. It's impossible to tell anything
from Campbell. He takes the screen pass.
OSU, yeah.
And then it's gone. So you can interpret the taking it to the house part as he's very quick, elusive. He's good on the open field, things like that. But he doesn't really show any signs of being a receiver, a conventional receiver at least, because he's taking all these short.
No, Ohio State's offense is cancer to watch. Like,
yeah.
Like, I went from watching Marquise Brown to Paris Campbell, and there could not be a bigger contrast in styles of offenses. Like, Oklahoma is working so hard to get Marquise Brown in space, wide open, up the sideline, create, unders under him so that he can blow the top off an offense. Ohio State is just pounding all these stupid screens and stupid 5-yard outs and 5-yard ins, and
everything is short.
Just everything is short, and they keep praying for their talent to just turn it into something big. But I have no idea how he tracks a deep ball. I have no idea.
No idea.
Honestly, Campbell was so frustrating to watch. He could be good, but I just couldn't get through his tape.
That's the thing. I think he can be good. He is fast. I mean, clearly his combine was very good.
Yeah, he's super fast. Andrew Luck is a great quarterback to hit your offense or your wide receiver too. But oh man, that Ohio State tape, I feel like Ohio State is doing a disservice to all their receivers.
They really are, and that's why this is
I
another
mean,
tangent.
physically, what is the difference between him and Marquise Brown?
There
Like
isn't. There
on
isn't
paper,
much.
there isn't.
Yeah. I think
But you watch their highlight tapes, and it could not be more different. Ohio State offense is cancer to watch.
Marquise shows more for sure. He shows that he can run routes.
Yeah,
He can run routes more than 5 yards.
Yeah.
Whereas Paris Campbell's taking everything short. It's just incredible. I mean, this isn't saying that it's a horrible pick or anything, but I just can't tell. I have no idea.
Yep.
No clue. I just know that he's fast.
He's fast, and he's on the Colts.
Yeah, that's it.
That's about it. Yeah.
I believe he's gonna be contending for the slot role, so that could be interesting. Maybe he takes a couple screen passes there and make a couple big plays, and that could be very useful. I don't hate it at the end of the first round. I think it's.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, value wise, you're not getting that kind of upside at any other point.
Exactly.
In the first round, but yeah.
Hard to say anything more than that.
Yeah.
He goes in the second round with Devin Singletary right after your. Right before. My bad.
Right before Hill.
Justice Hill pick.
Yeah. So I was really worried that Warren was going to take Hill because I mean Hill is small, but like Hill is so bursty and twitchy and explosive, and I know Warren doesn't like those like mediocre athletes clogging up his roster. But he went and took Devin Singletary, who in terms of player profiler, it is not that exciting. I mean, this is the type of running back that Warren shits on all the time.
Oh yeah, he was so hyped before the combine, and then the combine.
He was, yeah. He ran a really bad.
And then everyone's like, "Oh God, that's not good." And so it's going to be interesting. I already talked about this on the Discord, but it's going to be interesting to see because I think he is pretty good in the terms of what the back.
I mean, on tape he looks a lot better too.
The measurables, is he athletic enough for the league? That's my concern. That's the main question.
I mean, the long speed, the 40 time was like 4.63. It's not good, but yeah, not good, but whatever. I can live with that. But it's like. His like vertical leap, his horizontal leap, like his agility stuff was all like so mediocre. Oof. Like I think you have to have explosion in small like spaces, and he's the opposite of Justice Hill. He's big, and he's sturdy, but like I don't see anything in terms of explosion.
He's at Buffalo. The situation might be good because there's a lot of aged running backs in front of him, so that could open up anytime, right? Injuries. I mean, maybe even LaShawn McCoy gets cut. Who knows? So
I could see that. I don't think McCoy doesn't have much left in the tank. I don't think.
Right, but yeah, I think it'll be interesting.
Yep.
And then he had one more pick here, Andy Isabella, stock in the Kyler Murray offense.
Mm-hmm.
He was picked really high in the draft. I forget exactly where.
210, 10th pick of the second round.
Yeah, a little bit higher than I expected, but he's. I think a lot of people like him as a slot.
Yep. He's fast. He has good long speed. Unlike he's like one of those white slot receivers, except he ran like a 4.3 something or 4.4 something. Like. Right. Really good 40 time.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember now. His 40 was insane. That's right. A lot of people were getting hyped about that. He should be interesting because the Cardinals clearly think he is. I think he was the first receiver taken of the 3 rookies.
Yep, he was.
And again, there's a lot of hype with the Cardinals offense, et cetera, et cetera. And if you just connect the dots, Isabella could play a role in that as the slot receiver there.
You know what I didn't like about Isabella?
Yeah, go ahead. What is it?
So slot receivers don't really necessarily need this, but his catch radius is by far the smallest of all the receivers I was watching. If it's not at his body, if it's not on his hip, he doesn't shield the ball well. He doesn't use his arms well. It literally has to be put on his hip. So that speed is like nice, but like Kyler Murray better be accurate as hell, which I think he is pretty accurate. So maybe it's a good fit. But yeah, like, I mean, other than that, like I loved him. So I was like, a guy that I was like pretty high on, and then you watch enough tape of him, and you just see every catch is like so limited in terms of like where he's reaching for it.
I'm pretty neutral on him. I think I don't hate him, but I don't especially like him.
I mean, I can't fault him taking a chance there.
Yeah, that's true. This is
especially because
late.
the style, the style of offense that Kingsbury runs, like you don't really need to catch outside your body too often. The scheme should get him space by itself so that he doesn't need to like, ever reach for a ball too much. But yeah, that is probably the one wart on his prospect.
Although I'll say, I was reading those camp reports. Keyshawn Johnson is ahead of him in the slot. That is a problem. I mean, that's alarming. If a 6th-round rookie is competing with you and beating you right now, I'm not sure if that's good for you.
Yeah, I could see that being, he could end up just not contributing for. I could see him getting cut like at some point during the season.
Getting cut.
Oh, I mean, from Warren's team.
Oh, sorry,
yeah. Yeah, they spent way too much for them to just cut him, but like I could see Keyshawn just coming out a little bit quicker than him.
Well, who's the practice squad guy? It's Singletary or Isabella, right? So maybe Isabella's the.
Yeah, I actually don't know. It probably is going to be Isabella. I don't know. Who do you think has a better chance of contributing earlier?
Earlier, it's Singletary, I think.
Right, yeah. So I imagine he'll keep Singletary on his active roster so he doesn't have to make the decision early.
I think so. But, I mean, this is all speculation. And we're also assuming it's going to come from the rookies. So, yeah, I think that, I mean, that's the whole draft, but it's pretty interesting. I think a lot of teams had different strategies, different ideas and thoughts about not only this draft, but also the practice squad and how they're going to implement.
Practice squad definitely adds a layer of like intrigue to this whole rookie draft, just because you're trying to figure out, all right, like this guy, is he a practice squad guy? Is he an active roster guy? Is he a bubble roster guy? Like what are all these teams thinking? And it'll be really interesting because I think especially early on, people are not going to know what the optimal strategy is, and we'll see some very varying styles of playing with your practice squad. Maybe someone keeps it just for quarterbacks. Someone likes to keep a handcuff running back there just in case someone gets hurt. All sorts of strategies, which I think should be really big.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And I think this exercise was really useful for me, even to just look at this game. I haven't looked at it at all.
Talking through everything was definitely a good way to see how a lot of this could work out.
But with that, if you have anything else to add, I think we're.
Yeah, people are complaining that we went on too long.
We went on quite a bit, but it's good we had no guest today. I'm sorry. It's just bring it up with the 2.
No, we'll tighten it up
for sure.
In terms of length. Yeah, this one was like really free form, but yeah, we'll try to keep it a little bit more organized and concise.
The thing is, the rookie draft show is always long. I mean, we did this last year too.
And so is the post draft one. That's gonna be like, I think that was like 2.5 hours last year.
No way, that's insane.
That one, no, it was over 2 hours, but it was like 2 and 10 or 2 and 15 or something.
Oh man.
Because we had a guest on too, and just talking about everyone's auction draft just inevitably leads to like super long discussions.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, we'll call it right now. I'm sorry, guys. We'll be back. I mean, look, 2 hours. That's a lot of content. We're not gonna be back until at least 3 weeks. So, spread it out, have fun.
Up into like 4 shows and just watch it over. Yeah, watch it over the next like couple of weeks.
Yeah, exactly. No big deal. Although that will be a problem with the auction draft. We'll figure that out later.
But
until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Yep. Good work.